have a message for the regulators, now is the time.
So first of all, I do think it's a very good sign towards platforms that are less concerned than Zenjob about labor protection. It's a good sign that platforms really seriously need to think about it. I also do think we need to see how this directive will look like, what it will be for, if it will be finally adopted, and then how it will be transposed into national law. I also do think that making any platform under specific conditions an employer may not sufficiently take into consideration the need for flexible work, because there is also a need for flexible work. So I do think it is a good sign, and whether this sign will then really translate into meaningful protection of gig workers is just something that we will need to see once the directive is adopted.
For us, it is a bit different though. If you look at the conversation, it always has been also like you phrased the question basically already. This classification between the freelancer and the employmentship model. And when you think about employmentship, then you end up exactly what you also just described. It will kill flexibility to a certain degree. And flexibility is something finally which is enforced by employees. Right? And I think that is something also in our ongoing conversation, whether that's in Europe or in Germany, it's always the same thing. When people hear flexibility, especially from politicians' side, they believe, this is forced from the employer on the employee. But what we can see now with working over at 45,000 different talents is over the years you could see, no, it's actually something people demand and want. And they also see unsecurity in a different way, in the sense of you maybe have different phases in your life where you say, I'm very happy to have a bit more insecurity, but therefore I gain flexibility. And later it might be then the other way around again. So what we think is where the platform directive is interesting, yes, for sure, it tackles the right problems, but it looks again a bit this view on how can we ensure that the freelancer is a bit better positioned basically. What we would love to have more discussion about is to say, what about all of those employmentship models? Why can't we find something where we say we still love the general idea of an employmentship, but we also understand there needs to be some adaptation happening, otherwise flexibility is not possible. And to rather attack it from that angle, then always come from the freelancer approach and basically just secure a few positions there. The most important thing though is that the platform directive shows that also the European Commission understood it's here to stay. It's not like a trend, it's not a fancy thing, it's not some startup Silicon Valley stuff, but it's really happening. And I think that's why we're also happy about it. But for us, really, really important is don't forget that there's also a very interesting other view. You can look at it from an employmentship model and find some flexibility there. And we believe at least this will be even more beneficial than also for platform workers.